like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum songwriter, platinum artist, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hitting the play button. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Hit the bell so you can be notified when I drop some of this straight game at you. Check this out. I was posed a question, and like I say, they just keep coming in. If you have a question for me, please hit me. Put it in the comment. I'll definitely look at it and respond to your question and possibly make a video about it if it's interesting enough. But this question was, do I think that Tupac should have been riding in the car with Suge Knight the night after the fight at the MGM? Not the Mike Tyson fight, but the fight where they jumped Orlando Anderson. And the answer to that question is absolutely not. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to give you a comparison that you're going to really understand. First and foremost, security protocol. You have, and this explains the relationship between Tupac. This is how you know that Tupac wasn't really signed to death row also. Because as a CEO of a label, there is no way on God's green earth that even if the fight didn't happen at the MGM Grand, that my high value top earning artist is not going to be secured like the Pope. Best believe that's number one. Tupac would have had, he wouldn't even have been in the car. He wasn't even supposed to be in the car with Suge. Not only that, but Suge Knight wasn't even supposed to be driving himself. And more so than driving around with your top artist in the front seat of your car. Period. So the security was not sufficient enough to be able to do what they needed to do because of the hierarchy and how things were ran at death row, if you will. You see what I'm saying? So if Suge said something, then it went. And I understand that, but usually when you have security and you can go look at, like, say for instance, like Michael Jordan. I think Tupac was the Michael Jordan of rap at that particular time. You know what I mean? And if you go, there's no way on God's green earth that Michael Jordan's going to be in the car with Jerry Reinsdorf riding around like that. It just won't happen. It's not good business. And so that's why you knew that the relationship between, if you go hindsight, you knew that the relationship between Tupac and Suge was not that of a business relationship, but like what Suge said, more like a big brother, little brother type of thing. And so therefore, that's where the lines were blurred. So when you think about that night, there's no way the security is supposed to do their job and protect. Like, no, we don't think that would be wise. They were supposed to be in something like a SUV, or preferably 3 SUVs. The other artists being one, Tupac and Suge might be in another, or Tupac might be in one and Suge might be in another. And like I said, because this is your top earning, high value target, if you will, and you don't want to scratch on him. You know what I mean? Period. And so you think about all of the things that could have possibly been. And like I said, this is just, I'm answering a question that was asked of me. And like I said, when you think about that, there's no way. There's no way. And like I said, more so than anything, Suge knowing the environment and him knowing the situation and dealing with the people that he was dealing with in the situation, dealing with Orlando, what he was really up against. He knew that better than Tupac did. So when you think about that, there's no way Tupac should have been in the front of that car with Suge Knight. And like I say, once again, if you really want to be honest, Suge Knight wasn't supposed to be driving. There was supposed to be a security protocol where when you go pick Tupac up, Tupac is the investment. Tupac is the commodity that brung in the money to make that happen. And like I said, when people don't really understand, if you go on the back of Machiavelli and you look on the back of Machiavelli, and I think, well, I should say most of the albums that Death Row put out, you'll see in the situation in pertaining to Tupac where their business relationship was. And the business relationship was, like I told you, if you look on back of the Machiavelli album, you'll see Tupac's publishing company, which is Joshua's Dream, and then you'll see Suge Publishing. Now, once again, that was the benefit for Suge and Tupac coming over to Death Row. They had, like I said, they renewed the publishing deal, gave Suge Knight $4 million, which was usually supposed to go to the artist, but it didn't. So now you go to Vegas. Once again, the situation happened and it occurs like it occurs. First thought is, you know what? You got to put your vest on and so on and so forth. Unfortunate situation that happened. And like I said, because people were going to respond like they responded. And so I think that Tupac was lured into a false sense of security and the business not really being handled like it was supposed to be handled. If you see somebody like Dr. Dre or any high value individual or, when they moving, they got security, they and SUVs, they got security, armed security, right there with them. And you're not going to really be able to move on them like that. You know what I mean? We're not going to be on the Vegas Strip. And I'll give you like this. Check this out. The Biggie situation. Now, Biggie, when he was coming from the Peterson, Biggie had the right security protocol, right? The difference between Biggie and Tupac was the fact that they had been watching Biggie. Whoever, whatever, however that occurred, you know what I mean? You can see how it happened, that they had been watching Biggie. Somebody was out there watching his move and knew what car he was in, what seat he was in, and so on and so forth from that perspective, right? That's how Tupac was supposed to be moving. The difference between Tupac's situation was he in the car with Suge, and then these girls allegedly see Tupac, and it was said that that's how they found out where Tupac was, because the girl was yelling out the window, Tupac, Tupac, and so on and so forth. And that's how, the guys in the car spotted Tupac and Suge in the car. Now, if you're driving in an SUV with tinted windows, van, whatever you want to call it, there is no way that happens. You change the dynamic now of how that occurs, and maybe, just maybe, Tupac would still be here, from that night. Can't speak of what would happen after that, but from that night, you know what I mean, he would have still been here. But at the end of the day, and nothing that Suge wouldn't have got shot or none of those things. So when you deal with that, yeah, like I said, you compare the Biggie situation. Like I said, the security protocol was on point. You know what I mean? SUV, so on and so forth. But unfortunately, whoever was watching Biggie, however that occurred, that occurred from that perspective. But nobody was watching Tupac like that from that perspective to know what car he was in. When the guy said that they were looking for, they went looking for him and so on and so forth. So, so yeah, when you deal with that, like I said, once again, that false sense of security. And then there was another question in regards to about how in Biggie's situation and Tupac's situation, security was told to not have any guns. I don't really know anything about that. You know what I mean? And I don't think that really played or would have made a difference in that respect, because like I said, if somebody getting off at you first, from the perspective of shooting at you first, you ducking, you ain't, you know what I mean, that your natural instinct is not to, like, if you far away, then you can probably duck around the corner, draw and shoot back. But from the perspective of just that, yeah, I don't think that would have mattered anyway. I don't think that there was no large conspiracy about not having not having your firearm on you or anything like that. I just think that, it was what it was based on the fact that the lack of security and the lack of security protocol for your top artists who was the top artist, hip hop rap artist in the game at that time. There is no way on God's green earth that Tupac should have been in that front seat and Suge should have been driving a BMW after a Mike Tyson fight, you know, just in general. Because not only anything could have happened, like it's just, you know, in Vegas, you know, after fights and stuff like that, it's wow, you know, especially back then in 1996. So yeah, that's the answer to that. No, I don't think Tupac should have been in a car with Suge. I don't even think Suge should have been driving. To be perfectly honest, if you want to, like I said, there should have been 3 SUVs. You know, Suge got one, Pac got one, and one for the other artists. And security, right? Inside of the SUV with Tupac, not Suge Knight. You know what I mean? Tupac was supposed to be protected like the Pope at that particular time, you know, or damn near protected like the president. So like I said, yeah, that's the thoughts on that. And like I said, you can compare the Biggie situation to Tupac as far as, you know, Biggie was in the green SUV, you know, security protocol was tight. It seemed like everything was what it was supposed to be. Puffy was also in an SUV too. Like I said, moving like that same thing. But the difference was that they were watching Biggie's situation and Tupac's situation. You know, his situation was not a secure situation, and it wasn't good for business overall. As we seen, he lost his life. Like you say, your boy DELRAY, straight game.